When I was 18 years old, I went to medical school. I got admission into one of my top choice universities, which was King's College London. After 6 years in medical school, I graduated with my MD/MBBS degree and my Bachelor of Science degree. And I got married to my best friend. That sounds so cheesy, but it's true. He was and still is my best friend. And then I moved to the USA, so that was over a year ago. I spent all of 2019 studying for some super intense exams called the United States Medical Licensing exams. There are 4 of those, which I sat and spent all of 2019 studying for some super intense exams called the United States Medical Licensing.
Okay, hi guys, I think you can see me. A warm welcome to everyone who is joining here, looking at the possibilities of studying medicine in the US, right? We are looking at 2 things here. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. And this is going to be a session approximately 45 minutes with Q&As for about 1 hour. Ideal if you have a pen and a paper, which you can jot down some points. Also, you can take screenshots. Also, I'll show you where this recording is going to be updated and uploaded by tonight or tomorrow, right? So you can later refer it for anything, whatever you want, right? Couple of things. One is the hottest topic now in Sri Lanka, where a lot of people are applying for their green cards. So I'm going to just touch about that and how can that affect or impact or be helpful in looking at transferring to United States and continuing your career to become a doctor. Second thing is online. It's very hard to find content with regarding to medical doctors who have actually done their groundwork, who have transferred to United States and had a career directly. So I'm just getting you a small video, which I will probably go through just slightly, where we had people under the condition of an immigrant. As you can see, this particular doctor, who is a very famous blogger, who's actually been in one country and then moved on to US, and how does she pursue her career in medicine. So let's look at a small part of this, and let's have a discussion on only the American part of this and how do we basically overcome this. So let's have a discussion on this.
Licensing exams. There are 4 of those, which I sat, and alhamdulillah, I passed all of those, which made me eligible to apply for a medical job here in the USA. And in just a few weeks, I'll be starting my first job here in America, and I'm just so excited to start and take you guys along with me. It's my dream program, and I have literally been daydreaming of this moment, so I feel really blessed, and I cannot wait to take you guys along with me. Growing up, I think I always just naturally imagined my future in England, because that's all I ever knew, and that's the only place I'd ever really called home. So I was never the kind of girl who was in any active rush to just leave the UK. There's so much about London that I love specifically. I think it's one of the best cities in the whole wide world that I never really imagined leaving. So let me take you back to 2012 when I met my husband, and we met through medical school, but that is a story for another day. So let's just push that story aside for now. Prior to my husband and I getting engaged, he was obviously a medical student at the time, and so was I. We would talk about our future quite a lot, naturally, as you do with the person who you're going to be spending the rest of your life, inshallah, with. And his family, although they're all British, they actually live abroad now. So he didn't have any family members in England when he was in medical school. So he did a lot of research into where he could potentially.
Okay, so I think looking at my screen, you can see where you can find these type of videos. This research which you need to do is very important. Number 1. Number 2, when you're doing research, always do research which is up to date. So when you check videos, check videos which are in the last 2-3 years or so. Anything beyond that, sometimes the content would have changed, right? I want everyone to look at me when we are looking into the possibility of this matter relating to, the American dream kind of a thing of what we are, discussing here. The green card lottery is on, and a lot of people in Sri Lanka are applying for that. At the moment, you who are listening to me here could be a student who is pursuing medicine, a Sri Lankan student who is pursuing medicine, and you are considering to actually move to USA. Another possibility is that you are a Sri Lankan who is in Sri Lanka. You might pursue a career in medicine, but you are looking at how can you actually shift to United States and continue your career in that. So the first group of students are already in a medical school, probably in Belarus or somewhere. And how can you actually move to US? That's another discussion. In general, for people who want to pursue medicine, a medical career, what you have to do is the deadline of the green card is going to expire on this Saturday. You don't need any documentations. You don't need any proof of your education at the moment. Listen to this very carefully, and if you like to quickly take it down in a notebook, you can definitely take it down and you can see what would you do. So first of all, you need to go to the site which I'm going to show you. This is the site which I have open for you. I'll be getting it to you like this. If you go here and you just go on Google and say, okay, applying for the green card lottery, USA lottery, you would get a website which is shown here. Remember, this is the only legitimate website. Anything else which has these top pop-ups which say that, you have won a lottery, you have won this, you have won that, is all a hoax. It's just a site which leads into another site which will collect your data and information for people who are selling your data and information. This is the only legitimate site. When you go here, they will ask for you to fill in a form with your photograph. So my advice is, don't immediately go for this. Go to a studio and tell them specifically, I want to take a photograph which is going to be applied to my green card. It's not going to be passport size or anything like that. It's going to be a different size photograph which will be applied for the green card section. That particular photograph, save it as a digital copy. Either get it in your email, get it in a thumb drive, have it in your laptop, have it in your computer so that you can upload it directly. Then go to this site, which will ask you very basic information. The information is going to be, what's your name, as in your family name, first name, middle name. You fill in that. Afterwards, they will ask you, where do you live? Fill in that. Afterwards, they will ask you, what's your date of birth? Fill in that. Then they will ask you for your contact number and email address. Afterwards, they will say, under your account, under your dependency, who else wants to look into this? So usually you can keep under your dependency. If you're married, you can keep your wife, kids, anything like that. If you're just going to be all alone, you can be all alone, right? If you your mom, dad, or anyone wants to apply, you can also keep them as dependency as one family. The rule is, it has to be direct family members. You can't do it for some outsider, like an uncle or an auntie. You can't do it. It has to be direct family members who will be the dependency of this. After you do that, it will lead to you a page which gives you one page which you need to save it, take a screenshot or take a printout, which will have a specific unique ID number, a code number, which says that this is the tracking number. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. You need to keep that tracking number, and the lottery system is going to start from now onwards. It will be actually released mid-July 2023. So until July 2023, you don't have a clue of what's going to happen. From July 2023, there is a deadline somewhere like February 2024, where they will release the people who are going to go through this. who are the winners. Now, some of the things which you have to look into in applying for this is that you can't keep multiple accounts being open for the green card. You can't open accounts with multiple names under under your name. You can't open it in multiple ways. However, if for an example, the husband's account is the main account and wife is dependent, you can have another account other way around. Wife is the main account, husband is the dependent. So you have two accounts. Anyway, you have two chances of getting selected in the lottery. That second method is of course possible, no problem. First method is not possible at all. Anyone who has not got the photograph information been done properly, they say that you are disqualified with this. Winning the lottery is a luck by chance. Winning the lottery doesn't mean I get to go to United States. No, it doesn't mean like that. After you win the lottery, then the entire visa process starts. In the visa process, you need to show specially your educational level. Minimum educational level, what they have is A levels. So if you are trying to ask me, without A levels, can I go? You can't, you don't get qualified. You need A levels. What if I have done only O levels? Then you need someone senior to be in your dependent list that you are under them. You need to have A levels. So if you are if you are an adult or a mature person who didn't take A levels, at least if you had a foundation course which led to a degree program, well, all that is okay. In my photograph or in my educational qualification, does that qualify for me to be selected positively in the green card lottery? No, that's not a positive thing, because let's say that there is in a company, the boss has also applied for the green card, the PN also has applied for the green card. Both have an equal chance to be selected. There onwards, the PN has to, or the boss has to keep the file ready. In the file, A levels is a very important thing what they have to have. With the A levels of what they have, apart from the A levels, they need to show any other degree qualifications, any other academic qualifications, what they have. Very, very importantly, I'm sure that everyone is under control with the degree and the medical, the educational qualifications. Apart from that, there is something very important which you have to keep in mind in the green card system. You need to get a sponsor who is living in United States, who would agree to give you accommodation and to look after you in United States. That person's financial strength has to be proven. So there has to be someone in United States who is going to take responsibility of you. That person should have a clean record of his financial status. That person should agree that if you do not get a job, until you get a job, they will take care of you. They will allow you to stay at home. They will spend for you. You need to take a letter which showing also the financial strength with regarding to that. Apart from this, for the first process, should you pay money? You don't have to pay money. Should you pay money? You don't have to pay money. For the second process, you're applying with the visa. Yes, you need to pay money. After all your file and everything is done, what happens is you will be called to the US Embassy for a visa, for a visa interview. Should you show money in a bank account? You don't need to show any money in a bank account. This is the main easiest visa process where luck by chance, where luck is going to be taken seriously. If you have everything, you will get the luck. You can just leave. Pack your bags, take an air ticket and go. You don't need to show any money. Nothing of that sort. You need not show that you're going to work somewhere or you are enrolled for a university somewhere. You don't need to show that. You will just go for the interview. The interview has got no positive, negative guarantee whether you will get the visa or you don't get the visa. It's just afterwards between you and how you are going for the visa interview in the United States Embassy, which will actually be the decision of giving you the visa. Let's say that all your documents are correct. Let's say that all your documents are correct. Your visa interview, according to certain sources, can last about 10 minutes or so. I've done it in 1 minute and 50 seconds positively. Let's say that it's going to take for 10 minutes. In these 10 minutes, if someone has all their documents correct and they mess up the interview, your visa gets declined. Your visa gets declined. Afterwards, you cannot argue or bring in the point that You won the lottery system. Therefore, the government has to guarantee you going to US is not part of the story. You cannot do that. You basically have gone for the interview and you have flunked the interview. That is it. The reason of flunking the interview is never told at the interview. It's never told that we have disqualified for you exactly for this reason. They will never divulge the reason. They will simply say that you are disqualified with this interview in applying to United States, and we wish you better luck next time. That's it. You have to come out of the whole system, and I think it's not going to basically work. Some people ask a question, well, what if I flunk the interview? Can I like apply back in 1 month, in 3 days? No, it's not going to make a huge difference unless there is a special consideration of something drastically will change from your side. It's no point actually applying again. So anyone who is going in this category will go to United States. After you go to United States, what happens with your doctor dream is the next thing. In US, this is the methodology of how you need to work out. You will have a 4-year bachelor's degree and a 4 years of a master's degree. This is why they call the fact that studying in United States takes quite a long time. You will have a 4 years bachelor's degree. 4 years bachelor's degree. Okay. It would be a bachelor's in the field of health sciences. It could be pre-medicine by pre-med itself as a pre-med degree. There are pre-med specialized degree. It can be a chemistry special degree. It can be a biomedical science degree. It can be another degree which has most of the science courses. It can be a degree in psychology. It can be a degree in Cairo. Anything regarding that, which you would have it for 4 years. After 4 years, looking at the possibility of your grades, if your grades are not enough, they would let you actually considering you to a better score. They would ask you to repeat some assignments, assessments, or exams, and then you can do a 4-year MD. So you qualify as an MD. This is going to last for 8 years. This is going to last for 8 years. Now you should know that becoming a medical doctor in United States is number one, according to this, is not just time consuming. It's a lot of time consuming matters which is there here. It's a lot of time which you're going to spend here. It's just not 4 years and 4 years. In between, how much time do you take to apply? What if you miss a semester? What if you miss an exam? What if you try something else? There are so many issues. In between, you might lose a semester. So if I finish my 4-year bachelor's degree, I don't start my MD the next day, right? Now, let's say my last exam is on January 4th. This part is on January 4th. If this part is on January 4th, do I start the MD on January 5th? No, I don't start it on January 5th. I might wait for my graduation. It takes time. I'll wait for my transcripts. It takes time. I'll wait for some other administrative work. It takes time. I might take a break. It takes time. This gap alone can be a semester or a year. This gap alone. So obviously you're going to lead to about 9 years. 9 long years. While you are doing your degree, you sometimes will get opportunities to do part-time work, hospitals, multiple works. You can earn out of it. But I would always say in general to have a very thick chance of keeping a good bank, a healthy bank account, just in case, because as you know, the dollar is getting fluctuated very strongly, and the chances of we from Sri Lanka spending so much of money and going overseas is going to be not an easy task. So that is basically my take home from here. And I have a small presentation quickly to show you. Whereas in the next 15 minutes, we would be inviting Dr. Burhan to my seat. I would recommend everyone to ask him questions directly regarding to the USMLE. Now, before I go to my presentation and things like that, I'm also creating students an alternative way who would like to actually study medicine in a much more cost-effective a much more sure way of getting into the medical school in United States or driving themselves in United States after studying in Belarus. So we have in Belarus the Vitebsk State Medical University, whereas in the Vitebsk State Medical University, VSMU in Belarus, where students could spend 7,900 USD a year multiplied into 6 years. 1 year, 7,900 USD multiplied into 6 years, having the chance of getting into applying for USMLEs, at least the MCQs here. I'll say it as MCQs and start off this process. While this process is going on in Sri Lanka, if you are encouraging your parents to apply for this green card lottery, I would encourage you to do it. Come on. What's actually the possibility of, give me a second, guys. What's actually the possibility of not getting the green card? It's just a luck by chance. So what's wrong if anyone applies from anywhere? I encourage everyone to apply, and this time has been the highest applicants who have applied for this green card. A lot of awareness has been made. Awareness is been in the newspaper, on Instagram, by the embassy, by Daily Mirror, by news. People are sharing. People in Sri Lanka have created vlogs educating people how to apply, like how I'm talking about here, but I'm talking only especially encouraging doctors here. Everyone is talking about this. This being Sri Lanka's current economic situation in this moment of what people are having in Sri Lanka. I can see I'm getting some questions. We will get into it in a couple of minutes. Based on the situation in Sri Lanka, a lot of people actually have been applying for this. I know it's very competitive. My gut feeling is that the United States government will pick more candidates this time because it's being very competitive in this lottery system, but consider everyone positively applying to it. So the Vitebsk State Medical University looks into this particular method where after 6 years you finish it, at least by about 2 years time, you will be able to enter United States somewhere here. That's the whole game plan of what we are trying to do, right? So everyone who is participating here, I would like all of you all to look into my screen now. This is our channel, which we are adding a lot of content. I'm going to just send a message here. Hi there. Could you support us by subscribing here? And I'm going to share this. Can everyone just click a subscription here? This is where our videos will be uploaded and you would be able to gather a lot of information with regarding to this, right? So I'm posting it again, second time. Thank you very much for participating into this. Before we go for the presentation, if anyone is going to have any electricity issues, battery issues, or anything where you need to walk off, you can go. You will find the recording of this particular video tomorrow, where you can actually take your other notes as well, right? So when speaking about the conditions of going into US and things like that, I want you to understand that students in United States has a very challenging process. Number one is you need to complete your undergraduate education. So in Belarus, if you compare with this, you would complete your undergraduate qualification as a doctor in medical sciences as well. But if you come to United States, a lot of people do it as a basic degree. Of course, you have the medical admission test. Then you have to apply to a med school, which is quite serious according to the marks which you get. Complete the training at the med school, and you need to go through the USMLE exams and match it with your residency. The residency time period here is quite lengthy when you go into a university in US, so it's pretty serious. My suggestion is that this method is very tedious. We need to look at historical records. How much of historical records can we actually look at where students have successfully gone through this method. It's very rare. How much students are ready to pay for med school there is really a challenging task. So the more expensive the course is, the more of a bank commitment you might have to have if you're directly going to apply. If you're applying through a green card, you don't need any banking commitment at all. So you graduate from the medical school, and what do you do next? You start off with your residency. Okay. So going on with this, there is a question. There are two questions. I'll just quickly address it. What is the difference between the cost of a normal MD and USMLE in VSMU Belarus? USMD in VSMU Belarus. Okay, the student who has sent a private message, can you revert the previous question? You have said, what's the difference between the cost of a normal MD and USMD in VSMU Belarus? Can you just restructure that? Second, there is again a private question. What does match with the residency mean? Okay, so the residency happens in US, which links with specializations. So for an example, if there is a student who has done the undergraduate, the student is looking forward to get into, let's say, surgery. Okay, he needs to have his residency done under the experience in the section of surgery. So you need to make sure that you do that, whereas you don't go into non-surgery wards to get your experience. So that is what basically it means. We will hear more about this from Dr. Burhan as well. We need to take a screenshot of this slide if you are directly going to be a student who is going to apply. Okay. Is there a cost difference between USMLE route in Belarus versus the normal MD course? Okay, I would say like this, still the question is incomplete, but I would say that if you do MD, right, you need to somehow apply for USMLE later, now or then. If you're doing it while you're studying in the university, better off doing it. Regarding the cost, you might have a 30 to 40% off because the university which we are talking about has a student base of over 220 students a year. Out of that, I'm expecting 40% every year to apply for this. Since it's a bulk application which is being made via International Medical Campus and the VSMU, you would get a discount on it, a slight discount. I think that is the best answer I can give at the moment. If anyone wants to directly enter, you need to strengthen your profile. So you need to definitely have good grades. So a lot of people ask me, what is the definition of good grades? What's the definition of good grades? Good grades means you need to have A levels with 3 A's, not 3 B's. You need to have good sports at national or international level. You need to have good special skills, public speaking, organizing, leadership, because American universities pay a lot of attention for extracurricular activities, as I think you should know. Do you have any special recommendations from any famous people? When I say famous people, I don't mean any ministers. No, no, no. I mean scientists, professors, doctors, senior professionals, senior consultants, etc. Do you know that Moratuwa has a Arthur C. Clarke Research Center? Do you know the caliber of the late Arthur C. Clarke, right? So people during when Arthur C. Clarke was alive, I remember students used to actually go and work with him for research and get a recommendation directly signed from him. That actually will be a very, very, very great, powerful recommendation there. An excellent resume or a personal statement, you can get this done on Google. Send it to any person who is very good in his English, where they can upgrade it or they can just change some things there. How clean is your online presence? So when you're applying for a medical school or a university in general in United States, they look at how clean is your presence online, right? How are you strong online when you want to apply anything? And I'm not lying here. I'm telling you real factual strong information. When people apply for serious universities, including getting scholarships, etc., etc., the people from the university's administrative staff have even paid keen attention to the email address you use, to your photographs, to what you share, who you are friends with, etc. I have got feedback that they don't want to give opportunity for even a person who has an email address which looks it's not a serious student. So please take care of those kind of things. Do you have any patents for any inventions? Some students might say, sir, what are you talking about? We are just after O levels or A levels. So what are you talking about? Whether we have any patents? I'm having news for you. We have Sri Lankan students after O levels and A levels who have multiple patents on inventions. I personally met quite a few people. So I'm telling you with my personal experience that there are people who have had patents, who have gone for competitions and who have won competitions at international claim. I happen to meet a student who actually has got multiple recipient awards from the Abdul Kalam Institution in India. Can you speak any UN recognized languages? You are at an advantage, which is English, Arabic, French, Spanish, Russian, and obviously Mandarin Chinese. A lot of questions, a lot of people ask, can someone look into this? How long does it take to become a doctor in USA? Looking at the consultancy, because doctors in United States finish with consultancy at a very serious level. There is great demand in the world when you're a consultant. So undergraduate doctors should not stop their career there. Looking at a complete set, it would take 10 to 14 years. Doctors must complete a 4-year undergraduate program along with 4 years in med school and 3 to 7 years in a residency program to learn the specialty they choose to pursue. In other words, it takes between 10 to 14 years to become a fully licensed doctor. That is why people think not twice, 20 times whether they should go directly to US or not. Because time is money, money is time. Right? You get what I say? Right. Now, the hottest thing is, why the demand so much for US? How much do doctors really earn? As per 2022 statistics, can someone do me the math and just let me know in the comment section here? A doctor earns an annual salary at the average. It can be lower than this. It can be higher than this. At the annual average of 1,83,000 odd US dollars. Can someone do the math and multiply it to see how much does doctors earn a year, divide it by 12 and tell me how much does a doctor earn monthly? How much does a doctor earn monthly? So take this figure, multiply it by 370 or 380, divide that by 12. So Nuan Bandara says it's going to be close to 15 lakhs. Remember, this is the average. This is basically the average, right? I'm going to give you in my last slide before I invite Dr. Burhan to speak and enhance us about the USMLD things relating to that. Some homework for students to do. And this is going to be my last slide before we go to Dr. Burhan and I do the last patch up discussion on how do you apply with our universities. You need to do some homework. Homework number 1 is keep checking for updates on your universities in US or anywhere you want to do. Number 1. Number 2, there is an institution called the Fulbright Commission. There is an institution called the Fulbright Commission. It's in Columbus 7. It's a place called Flower Road. Fulbright Commission is the British Council version of England. Go to Fulbright Commission, sit with them, have a chat with them and see how would you like to start a course and go to US. I have some friends who have done it. It takes time when they try to match things and do a lot of work. It takes time, but if you think it's worth it, well, go and have a chat. Third thing is keep updating your profile. We like to see good things about you, about an article about you, some videos you've done, some content creation you've done. This makes it very special when you apply for a med school. Work on your green card and other possibilities of whatever which is happening. Make everything possible to strengthen your visa chances, right? Okay, you have to do it. If I'm a medical student in an MD program, can I do USMLE even if I have low A level scores? No problem at all. A level scores doesn't matter at all in that. Your visa interview has nothing to do with all what we have discussed here. Nothing at all. You can do all this and fail your visa interview, and your whole dream can be down the pallang in Sri Lankan standards or what we say. If you are already trying an alternative way, at least there is some hope. Imagine doing everything and nothing comes true, right? And that basically finishes off. So can we have Dr. Burhan to come forward? I'm going to invite Dr. Burhan, who is a doctor practicing at the Kalubovila Hospital. He's a student at the Viteb State Medical University. He's going to share some important insights with regarding to USMLE. Dr. Burhan, over to you. So do comment on the chat section if anyone wants to discuss anything. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. Hi. So I think what Inti has been talking about is basically, I think if there are students who actually go into medical school and if they are interested in actually working in the US, so there is a sort of a pathway where they can actually get integrated, and it'll be a very smooth sort of transition into the medical licensing exams in the United States. So the process starts, I think, while you are in medical school, where you need to sit for the USMLE exams. The problem is that a lot of students wait until the very end and then decide that, okay, I want to go to the US, which is, I would say, a very, is not the best of decisions. Because if you look at the structure of the United States medical licensing exams, step one is all the foundation subjects. That is your preclinical subjects like anatomy, behavioral science, pharmacology, physiology, pathology, right? So because of that reason, I always insist students, while they're in medical schools, while they finish their preclinical, should sit for the USMLE step one, which will be much easier as compared to waiting until you graduate and sitting for step one, right? So if I'm assuming that you do that, right, by the end of your course, you'll be able to go into your residency program. So therefore, you will not be wasting any time in the time period between your internship or residency versus the time that you complete your degree, right? Now, if you look at the way it works in Sri Lanka, you go to uni, you finish your graduation, and then you come back to Sri Lanka, sit for the ERPM exam or the Act 16 exam. And then you have to, it's at least a minimum of around 7 to 8 months, and then you go for internship. So good 1 year, right? But if you actually go and do the USMLE, so for example, let's just say a student goes to Viteb State Medical University. They go to Viteb State Medical University. By the end of third year, they can sit for USMLE step one, right? By the end of fifth year, you can sit for USMLE step 2 CK part, right? So now USMLE step 2 CS is not even there, right? There is no 2 CS, which was there earlier, right? So with USMLE step 1 and step 2, which you have completed by the end of your fifth year, when you finish your sixth year, you can directly apply for residency, right? You can directly apply for residency and you can go to the US, right? So, I mean, yes, I'm just very, very briefly telling you how it is, how the process is, right? I think I'll get into some questions because I think that way it's much easier. Right. So I think the first question is, yes, if you can do your USMLE even if you have low A-level grades, because the only medical licensing institution that looks at your A-level grades is the Sri Lankan Medical Council. Every other medical council does not give 2 cents on to what your A-level results are. They only care about how you passed your medical school exams and whether you've actually got through or not. Where can we do USMLE Part 1 in Sri Lanka? Yes. I remember I had to go to the US. I mean, I had to go to India to do it, but now there is an institute in Sri Lanka where you can sit for the USMLE Step 1. So you don't have to go to India. There is an institute called ARC Institute. You can get it done there. Next question is, does passing the USMLE guarantee a residency in the US? Unfortunately, I would like to say no. Just because you pass does not necessarily mean that you get in the residency program, because it's like this. The residencies are very competitive, right? So sometimes, like, let's just say, like, you want to do surgery, you might not get surgery, right? So you might get something like, general internal med, right? You might get something which is very low, like, for example, pediatrics. Not a lot of people want to do that. So you can go directly into that residency, but just passing is not enough. You need to have a lot of extracurricular. You need to actually take part in a lot of research. You need to show a lot of exposure with community sort of awareness. You need to have a lot of experience in a lot of hospitals. You need recommendation letters. You need a very good essay, right? Saying as to why you are a fit into this particular, field, and why you are choosing this particular hospital. So it all depends on those kind of criteria. So next question is, how if a student in GRSMU do a USMLE? Same thing, GRSMU sit at the end of third year, right? By the end of start of third year, you plan that you're going to sit for the USMLE at the end of third year. So you go through the USMLE materials, and when you come back to Sri Lanka, fix a date, right? It's there. There's no specific date where you're supposed to do it, the USMLE exam. You can fix it any month, right? So during your vacation time, you can come to Sri Lanka and sit for the exam. So you can do that in that process. Since the USMLE is quite tough exam, can we get the exemption from other medical council exams such as the PLAB or the AMC? No, unfortunately, no. Now, I don't know if you know, PLAB is going to be discontinued, right, after 2022, 2023, right, where they are going to name it UKMLE. At that particular point, yes, UKMLE and USMLE is going to be kind of interlinked. If a person does USMLE, you can say that you've completed UKMLE, right? But at this particular moment, PLAB and AMC is not recognized. But on the other hand, USMLE is recognized in a lot of countries. I think that's that. And then what would be the salary when we get into residency? Will it be enough to cover the cost? Obviously, right? When you're a resident, you will actually make at least 130 to 150,000 US dollars per year, right? That's as a resident. And then you move up. Maximum, you'll go up to around 400, 500,000. That's just working at one hospital. Look, USMLE and Canadian medical, I think all medical exams are difficult, but it's all about how much of work you put in, right? So you need to be very focused. If you put your mind and soul into that exam, you will be able to pass. Now, looking at the USMLE and the MREC, which is actually the Canadian Medical Licensing Exam, I would recommend you do the USMLE because the USMLE is recognized in Canada, right? There are a lot of places in Canada that recognize the US structure, but the Canadian exam is not recognized in the US. So that's something that you need to look into. But if you're specifically going to Canada and you're sure, because the Canadian exam is very straightforward, it's not as complicated as the USMLE. So if you're 100% sure you're going into Canada, then you can do the Canadian medical licensing exam. I think I've covered most of the questions. I would just want to how can we apply after doing MD in VSM? Right, so it's very straightforward. You need to go to the ECFMG website. You need to register yourself, right? So the registration process takes a little while because the ECFMG, which is the Educational Commission for the Foreign Medical Graduates in the United States, they have to check if you are actually a student from this particular university. So they will send an email to your university, that is, whatever university you're studying at, that is VSMU, and then, they'll get you through the process and they'll say, okay, you are eligible. Then you apply for the exam. So when you apply for the exam, you have to decide which date you're taking the exam. Very straightforward. If you go into the ECFMG website, you'll be able to get all that sort of access. If I need to go to Dubai, do I need to do a UAE medical exam? Now, yes, you will have to. Wherever you go, you will have to do an exam. Right now, it all depends. But again, UAE recognizes USMLE, right? As far as I remember. Again, there are different paths. Now, I remember a friend of mine who actually went to Dubai. He had to do something called the Dubai Health Authority exam. Right, so he already has experience in. He has already passed the Sri Lankan Medical Council exam. He has a lot, I think, 4 or 5 years of experience. So he had to sit for an exam, which is a very straightforward exam, nothing too complicated. It's the ECFMG website. Now I'm studying A-level 2023 batch, but can I apply? Apply for what exactly? Sitting for the USMLE? No. Obviously, you have to be in medical school. But if you're asking about applying for the university, I think you better meet Mr. Intikab. He will help you understand what are the universities that are there and what is the best fit for you. Again, depending on your cost, all of that. How much is the cost to do a USMLE for a medical student doing an MD program in VSM? Right. So now the cost is a little bit of a question mark because everything is in dollars. So I would say that for you to get the resource materials, if you purchase UWorld, if you get the first aid book and all of that, I would say it would cost you around, I think, $300 just for the resources. For the exam, like for registration purposes, it's I think around $200, and then for the exam, it's around $700, $800. Right, so you need to get all of those things for the exams, and every exam is around $700, $800. Nothing too much. Only thing is, I think. With regard to the current dollar crisis, I think it might be a little expensive. Since the USMLE is now just a pass or fail without a mark, how can we match a high rank? That's the thing. So now, because it is the step 1 is pass fail, step 2 still has a scope, right? So you need to make sure you do step 2 CK part very well. Also, increase your sort of CV by doing a lot of research, taking part in a lot of community awareness projects, doing a lot of social projects, being very active and having a very different, unique CV. And also try to get into a lot of programs, what you call observerships in the United States. So just because you've done it, I mean, it's always good to go to the US, get affiliated with a program, and then meet the people out there. Those things increase your chances. I think, let's see, that I answered. If we get USMLE, is it recognized in UK? No, at the moment, no. After UKMLE comes into play, then there is a chance, but nothing has been confirmed yet. How much is the cost to do USMLE for a medical student doing an MBBS program? I told you the same price. It's pretty much the same price that I mentioned. No, there's nothing with regard to IELTS or OET, nothing of that sort. Any more questions? Yeah, I think we are done. I'm going to pass it on to Inti, but if you all have any specific questions, you all can actually get my phone number from Inti, and Inti will pass that message to.
Thanks a lot. So that was Dr. Burhan, who actually was briefing us. And I hope everyone learned a great deal here. So before we call off, anyone who is looking at applying to the Viteb State Medical University needs to have A-levels from here onwards, or they can be with pending results or with O-levels. And you can have an equivalent A-level foundation program to go ahead with this. Our seats are still open for 2022, this current intake in the month of November. If you are looking at an immediate recruitment, or the next intake is available in February. So tell your parents, if they want to look into this option, they need to spend $7,900 a year into 6 years. So thank you very much for being with us. And this concludes this particular session. I hope it was a very fruitful session. You would very soon get to see the uploaded link of the program. And I wish all the students all the very best for this particular endeavor in achieving their doctor dream. Follow us on session 2, which is going to happen on Saturday morning. Also, we can look at some further extension of this particular program. Follow us on YouTube. You can follow Dr. Burhan as Surgical Diaries on Instagram if you want to keep in touch with him and answer all those questions. So thank you very much, guys. Wishing you a pleasant night. Good night. Take care. God bless you.